Hey everyone! Since starting this channel, I've been constantly surprised by comments from people who say that they have no knowledge of Quake speedrunning, but who still keep coming back to watch these videos. I've always tried to explain things in a simple way, but I also don't want to be overly patronizing to an audience of gamers. I know that the vast majority of you know what a rocket jump or a bunny hop is, but apparently there really are people in the audience who've never played Quake, have never tried speedrunning, or have never even played a first-person shooter. So this video is for you, or maybe for your mums. I'm going to go back to the absolute basics, so that hopefully someone who knows nothing about Quake can watch this channel with a new appreciation for the awesome skills and achievements of the game's best players. I hope you like it. If you've ever seen a Quake speedrun, you'll notice that the players are constantly jumping and curling from side to side. This is called bunny hopping, and it's one of the game's most important techniques. While you're on the ground, you have a speed limit while walking forwards or strafing from side to side. This speedometer shows us moving at the standard maximum speed. Strafing while also turning with the mouse lets you reach a much higher speed than simply walking in one direction. Normally, once you stop curling and strafing, the friction on the ground will slow you back down to your normal speed. However, in Quake, the air has no friction, so if you jump at the right moment, you can keep all the speed you've built up on the ground until you land again. This is called a strafe jump, and it's the first crucial part of bunny hopping. Using only this technique, players can already jump much larger distances than the game's designers planned for. For example, one of the first major shortcuts discovered in Quake was on E1M6, where you can strafe jump straight to this gold key, skipping almost the entire map. It takes some getting used to, but after a while you'll be able to consistently clear large gaps with a single strafe jump, just like this one on E4M3. The next step might seem obvious. You can gain speed while strafing and turning, and you can keep speed while in the air. Once we start with a good strafe jump, why don't we just keep jumping and turning for as long as we can? This is exactly what speedrunners do. Quake conveniently and unintentionally allows for precise control of your movement while you're in the air. Once you start jumping, if you let go of the forward key and instead use the strafe keys and the mouse, you can curl around between jumps without losing speed. This is generally referred to as air control. And these are the three components of what we call bunny hopping: the initial strafe jump, continuous jumps, and air control. In the top modern runs, the angle, speed, and position of every single jump in a bunny hop sequence is carefully planned out to maximize speed and efficiency. It's not always just about going as fast as possible. Let's say you want to move quickly through this room. If you're too fast, then you'll bump your head here. So instead, you take a wider angle and go across the other side in order to fit. Or let's say you want to land at the entrance of this small tunnel. You may need to slow down your bunny sequence so that you don't overshoot and bump into the top. The relatively simple concept of bunny hopping opens up an endless world of possibilities when it comes to the planning and execution of a perfect run. In cases where there's no space to bunny hop, we still have a few extra options to increase our speed while keeping our feet on the ground. Wall hugging is what it sounds like. We hold the forward and strafe keys along a wall while facing a specific angle either toward or away from it. With this, you can quite easily reach the speed of a good pre-strafe. If we can't hug a wall, then pre-strafes on their own are still faster than normal walking, and you can chain them together, swinging from side to side without actually jumping. This is called ground strafing. If all else fails, quickly alternating between the left and right strafe keys while holding forward will also give you a smaller but still occasionally useful speed boost known as zigzagging. Wall hugging, ground strafing, and zigzagging can be useful tricks, but bunny hopping is much faster, so it's always better to use them wherever possible. Modern players also use an advanced form of the technique called power bunny hopping. We mentioned that the friction on the ground will slow you down. Players can fight against this by tapping forward for a split second every time they land. Usually they have an extra mouse button assigned to do this rather than attempting to tap the normal forward key while turning and strafing. This is another complicated technique with a lot of history, but it allows the top runners to squeeze even more speed out of their bunny sequences. The map E2M1 has long been a favourite place to test your bunny hopping skills, and when I'm 64 finally hit a 6-second run in 2024, it was the culmination of 25 years of speedrunners perfecting their movement. On longer, flatter maps like this one, runners can really push power bunnies to their limits, and players still enjoy competing on this fairly silly 100-metre map, which is nothing more than a straight line race to the exit. Again, I'm64 has shown himself to be the bunny hop master with a time of 9.46 seconds. Damage boosts are the second major category of tricks in Quake. Again, the basic concept is very simple. Any damage you take will change your velocity. This includes damage from all enemies, map elements like traps or explosives, and even your own weapons. The rocket jump is a staple of almost every first-person shooter in the past 25 years, and it all started with Quake. Players discovered that by jumping at the same time as firing a rocket at the ground, the explosive damage would launch you up in the air. Players would use this in multiplayer to reach certain areas or grab power-ups, and speedrunners use them either as boosts or to skip certain parts of the map, reaching an exit or item faster than the intended path. The same kinds of boosts can be done with the grenade launcher, where the explosives can be bounced around corners or into clever positions before they explode. Where things start to get really interesting is when we combine these damage boosts with air control and bunny hops. Remember that once you gain speed, you'll maintain it as long as you keep jumping. And if we gain additional damage boosts along the way, then all that speed will stack together. This is how a demo like Jukebox's famous record on the game's first map, E1M1, is possible. He builds up speed through bunny hops, takes a big amount of damage by shooting this exploding box, and then keeps that speed all the way through the level using bunny hops and air control. This is the fundamental challenge and beauty of the movement side of Quake speedrunning. Maximizing your speed through bunny hopping, finding and utilizing as many boosts as possible, and maintaining as much speed as we can from these various boosts. It's worth noting that this style of playing Quake has very little resemblance to the standard game, and it's almost a mistake to call Quake a first-person shooter in a speedrunning context. While Quake was beautifully designed with fluid gameplay and incredibly stable physics, the fact is that none of the movement features which make Quake speedrunning so fun were built into the game intentionally. It's pure coincidence that this combination of techniques comes together to make Quake our favourite racing game of all time. Rocket jumping might be the most famous kind of damage boost, but literally every source of damage in the game has been used by speedrunners to gain speed or reach new areas. Some are used quite regularly, like the ogres who throw grenades, or the Vors who throw explosive projectiles which can boost us. Other boosts are much more obscure and might not even be noticed at a first glance. Importantly, how much of a boost you receive scales exponentially with the damage you take. If a single rocket jump boosts you this high, you might expect a quad damage rocket to boost you 4 times as high. But the reality is very different. Or while a single Vorball might be barely enough to clear this low bar, stack 11 of them together and you can boost to incredible heights. Combining sources of damage like this is another thing which makes Quake so fun. We can do multiple sources from the same enemy, like these Vorball jumps, or double ogre grenade jumps, or 2 simultaneous attacks from these fiends. Or we can also combine damage from multiple enemies, like this ogre grenade jump into a fiend attack. With our own weapons, it's quite common to combine a grenade jump and a rocket jump. We fire a grenade and do a rocket jump as it explodes, resulting in a large boost. In certain situations, we can even manage a triple grenade boost. Grenades either explode after a set time or when they hit an enemy. Here we set up a first grenade on the ground, fire a second from the distance, and a third up close. All three explode at the same time, allowing for an enormous shortcut. Timing grenade explosions can be a challenge for new players. Many runners fire 4 shotgun shells after the grenade to help time their jump. Or if you fire a grenade directly into the air, it'll conveniently explode exactly as it bounces a second time. If you're musically inclined and want to try my own slightly obscure method, then just memorize the tempo of this channel's theme song. If you fire a grenade on beat 1, it will explode exactly on beat 4. If you're interested in trying your hand at Quake speedrunning, then a basic knowledge of bunny hops and damage boosts is all you really need to get started. The next video you might like to watch is the one I made about slopes, which are another crucial feature of Quake when it comes to speedruns. To make demos, you need to grab a copy of Quake, which is an engine which keeps all the original game physics intact while providing a huge number of awesome and convenient features to help speedrunners. It's not just a speedrunning engine, in fact it's one of the most powerful and feature-packed Quake engines available. For a guide to installing and getting started with Quake, check out the video by Melbo in the description. Speed Demos Archive, or SDA, is the hub of Quake speedrunning, where you can find thousands of demos and maps to play on. And we're always happy to see new faces over at the Quake speedrunning Discord, where you can submit runs and ask any questions you might have. Thanks for watching, and happy quaking.